okay? This little section right here is the notes that I took for myself, things that I need to work on getting education around and putting these additional assets in place in my personal finances, right? So I have disability income. That's a topic. I was just hanging out with a good friend of mine, and the conversation of disability, long-term disability income came up. And I was like, I don't have that. Tell me more. What kind of plan do you have? And so we were kind of just talking numbers and coverage. And I'm like, very interesting. I want to look into that. So I put that on my list. Flood insurance. I'm in South Florida. I'm not in a flood zone. At the same time, you could say all of Florida is pretty much a flood zone. There's water everywhere, right? So it's not required that I have flood insurance. I'm in a really good neighborhood that has really good, sewage, and the way that my property sits, it's got, a little bit of a hill. So it would take a lot for my house to flood. And if my area floods, that means a lot of South Florida is underwater, right? So the possibility is there. It's just the percentage is very low. Still, nonetheless, I'm going to look into it, see how much does it really cost? How much is it really going to reduce my cash flow by? And then the last two things is success planning and legacy planning, right? Or I should say succession planning and legacy planning. So I've been spending quite a bit of time printing out, making copies of important documents that if anything happens to Denzel and I suddenly pass away, that my family has a process, a system as to the very first things they should go about doing, the very first phone calls they should make in case anything happens to me, right? Here are the three names, here are the three phone numbers you need to call, and you literally don't have to worry about anything else, right? So I have it down to that, where if anything happens to me, my wife makes 3 phone calls to 3 specific people, right? And these 3 people are business partners of mine. You all have seen them before on my YouTube channel. That's Caleb Williams with Better Wealth, Steve Parisi, IBC Global, and Daniel Romberg with Nations First Financial, right? These are 3 professional, close friends of mine, business partners, that if anything were to happen to me, they are critical in not only carrying on the mission that I have and the visions that they have, but also taking care of my family. Steve Parisi is my insurance agent. So he is the agent on my life insurance policies. Anything happens to me, he's the first call, all right, that my family needs to make so that they can put that death claim in right away. That's super important to get that capital to start handling different things immediately. Daniel Romberg and Caleb are going to be the first 2 people that are going to be given offers to purchase the rights to my YouTube channel, right? And basically take over all my clients, all my systems and process, because my wife is not going to know. No one in my family knows how to do what I do, right? They know what I do. They know how I do it. They don't know it to the 100% of what I do, but I would rely on them and all of the other partners around them to take care of you all. In case anything happens to me, you're not left in the wind. You're going to have service, and I would even argue potentially better service than what I would be able to provide, because I'm no longer here, right? So in that example, so people like Steve Parisi, Daniel Romberg, Caleb, Chris Kirkpatrick, Sebastian Boyer are all going to be critical people that I'm going to be able to lean on when I'm no longer here, that my family can lean on. They'll be coming in with care packages and full support because I've been able to build up that relationship capital, that support, that trust. So in your own household, is that something you need to be planning on thinking about? Could it be as simple as taking one action step, which is like, you know what? I need to make copies of all my life insurance policies, put them in one place. I need to make copies of my deed to my home, the title to my cars, the health insurance plans, any passwords and logins, bank accounts, checkings and savings, any assets, anything that I need to start itemizing and documenting, where it's like, here's where to tap into, here's how you get into my accounts in case anything happens to me, right? Important stuff, all right? So that's for me, right? But something on this list might also be for you to consider. And it's really about planning it out, taking one step at a time. And because you're here, present, or catching the recordings, you have me to tap into to leverage, right? Where it's like, okay, this can all be overwhelming at first, but if we just take one step at a time, what is one simple action step from call to call that we could be working on, despite whatever I'm sharing? If your one action step is, I need to start tracking my finances, okay, great, let's start doing that. And then if I'm working with you, then I'm going to ask, okay, do we have the capacity to track our numbers and also print out, make copies of documents and put it in a folder? Oh yeah, Denzel, that's not too hard. Okay, so now that's two things. Okay, and do we have the ability to come up with our financial independence number and financial freedom? Okay, so that's three things, right? And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going 1, 2, 7, 9, right? We're going 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of these action steps, so that we don't get overwhelmed. And we want to be able to have like a nice little checklist, and we want to check things off, and I want to be there to provide that recognition. Right? It's like, great job, Lionel, great job, Sandy, great job, Cassandra, great job, Pearl, right? Thank you for doing that. Thank you for making that happen. So everyone's going to be at different steps,